Good afternoon. Welcome to Sean Talks Cybersecurity. Lovely to see a live audience here today. And if this is your first time on the channel, visiting the channel, welcome to Sean Talks Cybersecurity, where we talk about cybersecurity content and news and do some try hack me and just have a little bit of fun here. For those unfamiliar, we do have a live chat, and so we'll be I'll be able to take questions in the live chat. So feel free to hop in on there as I'm going along here. But let's dive in. Let's take a look here and see what we got for the news today. All right, so for our first bit of news today, we have Ethereum private key stealer on PI downloaded over 1,000 times by Bill Toulis at Bleeping Computer. A malicious Python package index, PyPI, package named setutils has been stealing Ethereum private keys through intercepted wallet creation functions and exfiltrating them via the Polygon blockchain. The package disguises itself as a utility for Python, mimicking the popular Python utils, which has over 712 million downloads, and utils, which counts over 23.5 million installs. So if you're using Ethereum and you have Python, definitely keep an eye out. Don't download this package setutils. If you do have Python installed on your machine, take a minute and check out your Python. I think you can go to pip. You go to pip and then basically in the command line, and then check for setutils, and just make sure you don't have that one installed on your machine. And if there's any way that you can, if you work in an enterprise environment, check and make sure that you don't have any users with this one. Although then again, I guess you don't need to necessarily worry about that Ethereum thing in the enterprise. But if you have this, it's probably not good considering it's a malicious Python package. So check for setutils. That's it for that one. Okay, let's move on over to the next one, which is another one from Bleeping Computer today. We have over 37,000 VMware ESXi servers vulnerable to ongoing attacks. So over 37,000 internet-exposed VMware ESXi instances are vulnerable to CVE-2025-22224, a critical out-of-bounds write flaw that is actively exploited in the wild. So all you VMware admins, make sure you hop on there on your VMware instances and take a look and make sure that you don't have your patch, and keep an eye out on your VMware instances. Get it all secured up. If there's any way that let's see what happens here. Let's see. So we got U.S. Cybersecurity Infrastructure, or CISA. CISA has given federal agencies and state organizations until March 25th, 2025 to apply the available updates and mitigations or stop using the product. So basically, this critical severity VCMI heap overflow vulnerability enables local attackers with administrator privileges on the VM guest to escape the sandbox and execute code. Not good, not good at all. I would say keep a close eye on your VMware environment. Definitely patch. It does say there are no workarounds for this problem. That's what I was looking for. So no workarounds for this problem currently, but keep an eye out. I'm sure that they're working on it. I'm sure that there will be a patch coming out here soon. Okay, that's it for the news today. And let's dive into some Try Hack Me. Let's get into our subject at hand, which is how websites work. So Try Hack Me says that by the end of this room, we will know how websites are created and will be introduced to some basic security issues. Cool. So I said this before in previous live streams, but go ahead and if you have a web browser, go. I mean, who doesn't have a web browser? How are you watching me right now? Even if you don't have a web browser, right? Go ahead and go out to the Odin project and check out their stuff. They're going to show you a lot about how websites work, and they're going to teach you how to build them. I'm not sponsored, by the way, just really like their platform. So I would highly recommend checking out the Odin project. I think you're going to like it. It's pretty cool, even if you just do a little bit of it. I think that there's some good stuff on there. Rachel Ernest, listening from the school pickup line, learning new things. Thank you so much for tuning in today, Rachel. Really appreciate that. Okay, so we got when you visit a website, your browser like Safari or Chrome makes a request to a web server asking for information about the page you're visiting. So right now we're on tryhackme.com. I type that out into the address bar here at the top of my browser, which I'm running Chrome. You can't see that on your end, but up here in the top, there's a little thing that says Chrome. But basically, from there, I can actually go ahead and type that in, and then it goes out to this, out from my machine, out to a web server, and then back from the server over the internet, and then back to my browser. So, and the same thing goes for you as you're watching me on YouTube or Rumble or X or wherever you're watching me at right now. You basically can go ahead and say the same thing. So we have the front end, which is the client side. This is the way your browser renders a website, and the back end, which is the server side, and that is a server that processes your request and returns a response. So, what term best describes the component of a web application rendered by your browser? Okay, so we have the front end. Cool. A little bit of a streak there after yesterday. Okay. The next is HTML. Anybody who had MySpace back in the day knows a little HTML. But as I said earlier, the Odin project is a really good space to go ahead and learn some good HTML here if you want to go ahead and go out there and do that. Let's take a real quick look here. I'm going to go out to the Odin project so I can just kind of show you while we're live here. Basically, some really good stuff here that we have. Basically, you see right here, I'm only 56% of the way down through their foundations. I'm a cybersecurity engineer, so what I do is I don't build websites, but I do want to learn and I do want to get better at it. So that's the reason why I'm going through the program, and it's really cool, good stuff here. Yeah, you can go out to basically, I'll just click on resume. That way you can kind of see. So here I'm learning some CSS, introduction to Flexbox. But if you go out to their paths, they have some really nice paths here where you can do full stack Ruby on Rails or full stack JavaScript. And then they have foundations. And then from here, you can actually, it goes through setups and get into Git. So it's always good to learn some Git. And then HTML foundation. So you can see here, all this stuff is really, really good, very complex, but they make it really easy to understand. So, and for the record, I'm not trying to get sponsored by the Odin project. I'm just trying to give them a shout out because I think their platform is really good. Okay. So HTML, anyway, HTML is used to build websites and refine their define their structure, sorry. CSS is to make websites look pretty by adding styling options. And JavaScript is used to implement complex features on pages using interactivity. Okay, so hypertext markup language is HTML. It's the language that the websites are written in. Okay, so you have right here as an example of HTML, and you can see how it's broken down, the syntax here and the hierarchy. So you have it broken down here. It just kind of makes it easier to read, and that's obviously the way that whenever they created HTML, they need it to be this way for it to function. You can see these little, they have these slashes here. That's how you know it's ending. I won't get into the complexities of it, but like I said, go ahead and do some research if you're interested and you want to learn some HTML. So the HTML structures as shown in the screenshot has the following components. So we have this doc type HTML, and that defines that the page is an HTML5 document. You have HTML element right here. So that is the root of the HTML page. So all the other elements come after this. The head, which is the element that contains the information about the page, such as the page title, right? Body, which is the element that defines the document's body. So only content of the body is shown in the browser. And then, so basically you'd want everything to be inside of the body, since we're on that. The H1 defines a large heading, and then the P element defines a paragraph. So very basic. I mean, this is just going to show like a very basic black and white, like white background with black text is just going to say example heading, and then it'll say example paragraph in like smaller font. That's what it would look like, right? Okay, so tags. Okay, wait, sorry, got a little bit ahead of myself there. There are many other elements, tags used for different purposes. For example, there's tags for buttons and images and lists and a lot more. So So tags can contain attributes such as the class attribute, which can be used to style an element. And so we have this class right here for bold text, right? So now we're this is where CSS starts to come into play, but this is still HTML, not to confuse anybody. This is still HTML. We're just defining a class, which is useful for whenever we start to bring in the CSS, which is just the pretty colors that you see on your browser. Like, for example, this right here, this little red bar over here is CSS. The way these are actually formatted to look pretty, that'd be CSS. And all the way that this is laid out. I mean, there's some CSS at work here. Okay, so we have the source attribute, which is used to on images to specify the location of an image. Image source is image cat.jpg, and an element can have multiple attributes, each with its own unique purpose. So elements can also have an ID attribute. So we have ID attribute right here. We have source, right? Image source, right? And you can actually see here, worth noting, is that you see how, if we scroll up a little bit, you see how these have these titles, right? And how they have the end. Well, here we actually don't have the ending on the other side of that. So elements can also have an ID attribute. So in this case, you would have that /p at the end there, as you can see here. Sorry, I'm probably confusing some people, but I'm not trying to. Like I said, go out to the Odin project and check out their stuff because they really break it down in a nice, friendly way. But elements can also have an ID attribute, which is unique to the element, unlike the class attribute where multiple elements can use the same class. An element must have a different ID to identify them uniquely. Element IDs are used for styling to identify it by JavaScript. Okay, so let's do view site. See what we get here. Yeah, so you can see here basically how this is broken down and how it would look. So you get this cat website. See images of all my cats. So basically, if we hit this render HTML, it's going to do that same exact thing. But if for some reason it doesn't like this cat2 image, my browser doesn't want to put that there. But I guess we could put like whatever you wanted to put here. Oh, I guess it maybe wants to put JPEG, right? Maybe that's the reason why. Yeah, so there we go. We got HTML hero. So I guess that's probably going to be what it wants us to do here. One of the images on the cat website is broken. Fix it, and the image will reveal the hidden text answer. So HTML hero. Add a dog image to the page by adding another image tag on line 11. So we can actually go to image source is, what's it say? It wants image and dog-1.png, and then close that out and then render it. And this is how easy it is to do HTML. HTML is super, super easy. Basically, you don't have to have anything fancy if you want to build a website. All you have to have is some HTML, and you have to have a way to host it. But if we get into some more complex stuff, if we want to actually get into the way websites actually start to be functional, then we have to start to put some of this JavaScript in. So JavaScript is one of the most popular coding languages in the world, and it allows the pages to become interactive. So anything that you use where you're actually clicking around and doing things on a website, or basically most websites use JavaScript, right? So that's actually one of the things that allows, like when you go out to like a newspaper or something, and you start to see those ads pop up, or you see basically you get a little banner that comes up on your screen and it says, we're sorry, we notice you have an ad blocker or something like that. You can actually turn off your JavaScript, and then sometimes it'll actually just turn that off. So a little trick there that works out really nicely. But JavaScript, basically, if you didn't have JavaScript, the page would not have interactive elements, and they would always be static. So JS can dynamically update the page in real time, giving functionality to change the style of a button when a particular event on the page occurs, such as if a user clicks a button, or to display moving animations. So JavaScript is added within the page source code and can be either loaded within script tags or to be included remotely with the source attribute. So usually this is actually what you're going to see. You're usually going to see this source because we like to keep our files separate. That's well organized. We want to have everything well organized. The following JavaScript code finds HTML element in the page with the ID of demo. So document.get element by ID, demo, and then changes the element's content to hack the planet. So it can actually real time just change whatever, right? And then HTML elements can also have events such as on click or on hover that executes JavaScript when the event occurs. The following code changes the text of the element with the demo ID to button clicked. So button on click, it's going to find that element ID of demo, and then within the HTML, and then it's going to say button clicked, click me, and then it'll, change. So that's the beauty of JavaScript. And the reason why this actually ties into cybersecurity, since we're talking about cybersecurity, is if you want to, there's a specific career field in cybersecurity for penetration testing for web apps, right? And also web app security is very useful to understand HTML and JavaScript and CSS, because you can actually go through and clean up your code, or clean up any of your enterprises, whoever you work for. You can clean up the code. But there's also turnkey solutions that kind of automate some of this for you. One of those things is called Sneak. There's also another one called Aikido. There's many out there that'll basically take and look at your code base and actually try to secure it for you, or tell you where it needs to be secured if it feels that there is a vulnerable piece of code, something that could use a little bit of TLC, right? But worth noting is that that's really the main reason why, as a cybersecurity professional, you would want to know this. If you're going to get into web app security and your job is going to be completely solely focused on that, and that's really what you want to do, then you really need to know this stuff. A lot of people in cybersecurity are not web app people, but it's just worth pointing out. Got a chat here. So it says, "Hi, I'm from India. Can you give a bit spotlight on GRC fields? Some say it's non-technical, some say it's technical. Can you give a basic brief?" Oh, thanks, PC. Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Take a little interlude from the JavaScript and stuff. So GRC is, in my humble opinion, probably the least technical on the cybersecurity end, but it can be technical. It really depends on what organization you work for. Essentially, it's kind of the bridge between cybersecurity and legal and compliance, and hence the name GRC, which is governance, risk, and compliance. So it's a very important role in cybersecurity, and it will benefit organizations greatly. You definitely need to have GRC people. Your job is going to be a lot of technical writing, and you're going to do a lot of policy drafting, and looking at whatever the organization has as far as the data that they want to protect. And then from there, you will go ahead and create risk profiles, and basically analyze the data, or analyze the environment, and try to protect the organizational data. So it can get technical, but I will tell you, if you want to be in something a little bit more technical, then you want to be in either a cybersecurity engineer, or a cybersecurity analyst, or a cybersecurity architect role. Any of those three, if you want to get on the technical side. If you really want to stick with the technical writing and more of the legalities and everything, you want to get into GRC. But all of it's important, and all of it has their place. So yeah, good question. Thank you so much, PC. Okay, getting back into this JavaScript stuff here. So we have click the View Site button on the task on the right-hand side, which we've done, and then add JavaScript that changes the demo elements content to hack the planet. So we want to we got to add our JavaScript here. I guess we don't even actually have to uncomment that. So we would just say document, whoops, got caps on, sorry about that. Document.get element by ID. And one thing worth noting here is you can see that it's not syntax highlighting, but one of the cool things about things like VS Code is you can actually take and syntax highlight. So as we do this, you can see here, this is syntax highlighting. You see how these are all colored differently. You have document, and then the .get element by ID, and then demo, and then so on. And that's really useful, because for people who are maybe dyslexic, or like myself, maybe have a little bit of hard time with the attention span, you have these nice things to be able to keep it all organized. So, all right, so we're looking for demo, And then we would have inner HTML. And then we want to change it to hack the planet. And then make sure that we end that. And then hit that. And so we got this back here, and we got our code, our flag back, which is JS is fun. Kind of a flag, anyway. Not our typical flag, not what it normally looks like. So we'll hit submit. And then it wants us to add the button HTML from this task that changes the element's text to button clicked on the editor, and then update the code by clicking the render HTML. Okay, so let's add that in here. So, okay, we're just gonna copy this over. I believe this is what it wants us to do. And so we'll hit render and see what we get. Oh, there was an error with your JavaScript. Okay, let's see. Let's break this down a little bit. So add the button HTML from this task. So we probably need to have a button. And we want it to have ID of demo. And then do we need to have anything else? I don't think so, if I recall, for a button element. And we might need, yeah, we'll just see what we get here. Okay, you're right. And, oh, yeah, okay. So we need a, what do we want it to say originally? We want it to be button clicked. Change the elements text to button clicked. Although this would be the original button, so let's see if we can get a hint on this one. So put the following. We want to have button on click equals document get element by ID demo. And I'm not really too familiar with JavaScript. So just bear with me here as I'm working through this. Apologies for that. But let's see what happens if we get that back. We want to have, we can get rid of this line here, I think. We're just going to go ahead and exit that out. And yeah, so still getting it back wrong here. So if anybody has any thoughts, hi Esteban, thanks for joining in here live. Really appreciate that. Okay. As I said yesterday in my live stream, I am not a one-man army, so I don't know everything. I definitely don't try to know everything. It's impossible. I'm definitely not a I'm not a JavaScript Superman here. So we're just going to go ahead and move ahead here. We're going to hit complete, and we're just going to move on. So we'll come back to that another time. Okay, but let's go ahead and move on here. So as you can see, JavaScript it kind of can get complex, and it's definitely its own kind of niche, if you will. You can get into it and really learn a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to be a master of all the things. It's you can be a generalist and know a lot about many things, but it's really hard to be a master of all the things. So thank you, Rachel. Thank you. Okay, so we got sensitive data exposure. We have sensitive data exposure occurs when a website doesn't properly protect or remove sensitive, clear text information to the end user, usually found in a site's front-end source code. So we know that websites are built using many HTML elements or tags, all of which we can see by viewing the page source, right? And you can actually get out to view your page source right here. I'm not going to do that while live here, just because of my own security and privacy. But if you want to do that, if you're on Chrome, you can click this and you can actually view your page source. And Google has really good ways on showing you how to do that. But if you go and we say a website developer may have forgotten to remove login credentials, hidden links to private parts of the website, or other sensitive data shown in HTML or JavaScript. So I guess it's going to allow me to show you, which is really nice. Let's see what we get here. Sensitive information can be potentially leveraged to further an attacker's access within different parts of a web application. And so what does it want us to do? View the website on this link. What is the password hidden in the source code? let's see if we can. So I right-clicked, and then I can do view page source. Let's see if it'll give it to me here. Okay, so we have. Let's see. Wow, it's really long here. I think this is going to take all day here. Let's see if we can figure out a better way to do this. Whenever you're assessing a web application for security issues, one of the first things you should do is review the page source code to see if you can find any exposed login credentials or hidden links. So right here, you can see somebody left that comment in there, and so that's kind of what we're looking for. So let's take a look. Turn on
5 hours later.
my SpongeBob meme there. That way, get a little bit of silliness in the chat here as we're going along. Okay, this is just all JavaScript. That is not going to work. We're not going to get all this to where we want it to be. Let's see if we can do a Command F, and let's see if we can find, specifically, we want to find exposed login credentials. So here it says credentials. Let's just search for credentials. See if we get anything back. Nope. Nope. No, we're not getting that back. Okay, of course. So I wonder why we can't find... let's see if we can just hit inspect on this and see. There we go. Okay, that's better. That's what we want. All right, let's get rid of this down here. We don't need that. Perfect. This is what I meant. See, this is the great thing about working in in live and what you expect to see happen in a live stream, because it's not pre-recorded, folks. We're just rolling with the punches as we go here. So we know that we want to find a password hidden in the source code. So let's see if we can find it. Let's see. Oh, this is giving us everything over here. That's not. We don't want all of this. We just want to know. Yeah, that's what we want. Okay. Let's see. Shadow root. Ooh, that looks interesting. Chrome extension. Maybe that's not it. Let's see. That's not it. Oh, there we go. Perfect. We found it. All right. Yeah.
5 hours later.
5 hours later, we found it. Okay, so our password hidden in the source code is test password. So, yeah, just the perks of being live. So, thanks for sticking with me. Really appreciate that. Sorry about that, everybody. It's just just what happens whenever you're live like this. Okay, so HTML injection. We have that's a vulnerability that occurs when unfiltered user input is displayed on the page if a website fails to sanitize user input, i.e., it'll filter any malicious text that a user inputs into a website, and then that input is used on the page. An attacker can inject HTML code into a vulnerable website, which is just basically a way to say that you can get in there and you can hack a website. So HTML injection is your website hacking. Input sanitization is very important in keeping a website secure, as information a user inputs into a website is often used in other front-end and back-end functionality. A vulnerability you'll explore in another lab is database injection, where we'll be able to manipulate a database lookup query. Cool. So let's take a look here. So when a user has control of how their input is displayed, they can submit HTML or JavaScript code, and the browser will use it on the page, allowing the user to control the page's appearance and functionality. So we have here, user types information into the input field, right here, right? And this is what it would look like with the source code. So we have script, function say hi. This is JavaScript, right? So we have const name, and then we have document get element by ID name dot value, and then the get element by ID welcome message, and then this inner HTML, and then welcome, and then plus name, right? So it's going to say welcome Sean for me, for example. And then you'd have the input is used in a JavaScript function to show the name of the page, right? This right here. And then you get back, welcome Fred Blogs, right? So Fred Blogs, boom. Welcome Fred Blogs. So no input is sanitized. So you can write your own HTML or JavaScript and it will be used on the page. So because they're not sanitizing, they're not looking for checks and balances here with what's your name. You're going to be able to put whatever you want, and then boom, now you have keys to the kingdom. So the image above shows how a form outputs text to the page. Whatever the user inputs into the what's your name field is then passed to JavaScript function, and then it outputs to the page, which I said. And then that means that the user adds their own HTML or JavaScript, and it's used to say hi and is added to the page. So you can add that HTML, and then it'll input that or output that as the pure HTML. So the general rule is never to trust user input. So anytime you code, you should never trust your user input. You should always sanitize. And so the general rule is never trust, and then to prevent the malicious input, the website developers could sanitize everything the user enters before it is in the JavaScript function. In this case, the developer could remove any HTML tags. So let's visit this website, see what we get here. So it says, what's your name? So view the website on the task, and so that a malicious link to hacker.com is shown. So we would want to have a malicious link to hacker.com. Let's see. Let's check our hint here. Yeah, so we got to look up how to create an HTML link and use it as input to the what's your name field. So let's see. HTML create link. So we go to here to W3 schools, and then we know we have our HTML link, right? So we can copy that and bring it over here, and then we want to say our URL, which is http://hacker.com, and then link text, which is I guess we just want to have, we don't really want to have, yeah. So answer is HTML injection. Cool. All right. Well, we finished that room up. Oh, got to close that out. And we'll submit that. Submit. Maybe it'll let me, maybe it won't. I had some technical difficulties with this the other day too. Okay. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so that's it for that room. We're all done with how websites work. Another Try Hack Me room complete. Thanks everybody for joining in on that. I am definitely not a web developer. I just know a little bit, enough to say a little bit, but basically wanted to showcase that today, kind of give a brief demo of what you should expect. And if you do this on your own, you go out to Try Hack Me and just kind of play around. It's going to be a little bit faster for you. Doing it on your own, you can actually think and focus and do it. The one thing about being live is sometimes, it's difficult. But it was fun getting to do this with you guys today. I really appreciate you guys joining in live on the live stream here today. It has been a great time getting to talk to you all and show you a little bit, get to do the news with you. That's all I have for today. I hope you have a good rest of your day. And if you have the chance, please hit that like and subscribe, and hit the bell icon, and do all that fun stuff. Thank you, and share it out with your great aunt Edna, or share it out with whoever. Doesn't matter. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.